Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Talk with AVC. After a week absence, because of unfortunate holiday issues, we are back, and it's really nice to be back. And we're going to start right off with the MLB. The World Series is tonight, and as me and a lot of other sad New Yorkers will tell you, the Yankees are unfortunately not playing in it. It's very sad indeed. Very disappointed. I guess we'll just start by breaking down that game between them and Houston. You know what? It was just going in, people thought the pitching would really be the issue. I don't really think it was. I don't think the starting pitching was really the issue. I think the starting pitchers gave about what they were expected to give. I don't think you could have really asked for too much more from them than that. What disappointed me particularly was the lineup. It wasn't almost getting hits because they got hits. They just didn't get the hits when they needed to get them. Runners on scoring position, the team in general was really bad. And it just seemed like couldn't really get a good run in scoring position to save their lives, other than, say, like DJ LeMahieu. So I think that was the really issue there. Going forward for the Yankees, it's going to be, of course, trying to get some big free agent or something like that and look to building towards next year. The Nationals just dominated the Cardinals. Just all their pitchers played really well. And we'll see how they do. Nationals, Houston is the next series for the World Series for everything. How are they going to go? Well, Houston has a much, much better lineup than any of the teams the Nationals have played. So I don't expect the perfect pitching performances they've had up until this point, because they've been rather dominant, and then I don't expect the bats for Houston to disappear like St. Louis's did. As far as what they need to do to win is they need to get runs off of Verlander, Cole, and Greinke. They need to be able to score a little bit more to help out their pitching. And honestly, the same thing is going to be true with Houston. I could definitely see some of these games becoming pitchers' duels. I could definitely see a game between, like, say, Patrick Corbin and Zach Greinke turning into almost like a baseball version of a shootout. It could definitely turn into that. So, I mean, with baseball, there's not that much to talk about this week, simply because most of the teams... It's hard because I missed the week, but there's only 2 teams left for the World Series. So that's kind of my breakdown here. As far as my prediction, I'm going to go Astros in 6. I think is the most logical way to go about it. I just don't think the Nationals quite have the lineup to beat Houston. And I think if Houston could just win a game or 2 from Strasburg or Scherzer, I think they're probably going to take it. So there's not a ton to talk about in terms of this. I mean, the Nationals bullpen is still a really big issue. Houston's is definitely better. So again, if one of the Nationals starters struggles, it's going to be a problem for them. So what I'm going to do instead here quickly is I'm going to because we're in New York and I'm a Yankee fan, so I'm allowed to go on a little tirade like this. We're going to see, what do the Yankees really need to do in the offseason? Well, what do we need to look at? Well, we got a couple free agents. We got Didi Gregorius. We got Brett Gardner. Encarnacion and Chapman have options. I think Cameron Maybin's a free agent, and Austin Romine. So who should go? I definitely think you need to bring Didi Gregorius back. He is just, a lot of people don't understand, he's just like a glue guy. He's a guy you need to have on the team. He's just kind of one of those guys that he just uplifts everybody in the locker room, and he plays a surefire glove at shortstop. It's nice having his lefty bat. He plays solid. There's no reason to really get rid of him. I understand maybe his price tag could be a little high for his production, but let's be honest, it's the Yankees. I don't think a price tag should bother them that much. Then you got Brett Gardner, who I would bring him back probably on like a 1-year contract. I think that'd be the best thing to do. Again, he's the longest tenured player. He's a solid player. He plays a solid left field. He can steal bases. He's just, again, another guy you want to have on the roster. Cameron Maybin, unless you get him on like a veteran minimum, I don't really see a reason to bring him back. I like Cameron Maybin. Again, he's a locker room guy, but I just don't really see room for him. I think you want to get Clint Frazier, if he's going to stay with the team, going to get him some reps this year. So I want to figure that out. Encarnacion, the Parrot, I like him, but I wouldn't bring him back. Just based off that horrible postseason, his ridiculous price tag of I think $20 million is his option. I don't really think it's worth for him, a player who is going to have another year of fatigue to deal with. I think he'll just be more of a DH at this point in his career. So with already having Stanton and Voit and LeMahieu who can all either DH or play first base, he just seems unnecessary to me. I just don't see a reason to keep him. And then Chapman, he's interesting because he's a player option. I don't know if he'll opt out. He may opt out to try to see if he can get more money. I don't think he'll get much more money than he's getting right now. And the other free agent is Betances. That's the other big free agent. And it's tricky with him because he's probably going to want something similar to what Ottavino got, which was around about $17 million for probably about 3 years. It's hard to look at him because he didn't play really at all this season. So you don't want to sign yourself into a long-term contract when you don't know what you're getting back. You don't know what you're getting back with him. Is he going to be the same guy? He's about 30. I don't know what we're going to get when he comes back. Personally, if it were me, I would try to see if he'd agree to a 1-year deal just to kind of see if he still has it. But I think if he went to free agency, he'd get a offer to be a closer from some desperate team, probably like the Nationals or something in the offseason. So if he's the same guy, I like him back, but I don't know. I feel like he just may test free agency. Not a lot of guys want to test free agency, but he may have better value doing that. Then Austin Romine, I would say that's pretty easy. Bring him back. He's a solid backup catcher. He's never going to be anything great, but if you look at the Astros, they didn't put a ton of value into the catching position with Chirinos and Maldonado, and they produce solid defense. Romine produces solid defense. He's a good backup. He's shown he's a good backup when Sanchez gets hurt. Why not bring him back, honestly? How many years could he possibly have left? And I think he'd like to stay a Yankee for most of them. The other big thing this offseason is what are you going to do with Domingo Germán after his whole domestic violence thing? I don't even want to call it a domestic violence thing because I don't think that's what it was actually called. I think it was just called maybe an assault in a public place. I don't know. He slapped his girlfriend in a restaurant, basically. He had one good year, but now he's had this whole thing. And if you're going to bring in a guy like Strasburg or Cole or one of those guys in the offseason, I mean, you're not going to have Happ or CC back. You may need him, but you also, I don't think it would hurt to get rid of him, especially in a trade after he had one good year. You could trade him for another bullpen arm or a veteran piece. I don't think it would be that hard. And then, yeah, I think that's most of what I'm looking at this offseason for the Yankees. Again, with baseball this week, there's just not that much to talk about. Looking forward to the World Series, though. And we're going to wrap up this segment. We'll have college football on next. This is the Talk with AVC. Glad to be back. Hope to see you in the next segment. If you don't, thanks for watching. And I'll talk to you all next week or in the next segment.